This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend.
New from Terraform Comics, Hybrids, The Sons of Gods, Volume 1, Trash Day. When everyday people develop godlike abilities, it is up to a small band of heroes to expose an evil superhuman trafficking ring. This 128-page volume merges history with fiction in an exciting, fast-paced adventure. Get your copy now.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
Welcome to Clever Title Pending with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. Don't send him title recommendations because Brian knows exactly what he's doing. So just sit down and look pretty as Brian K. Morris scrolls through your comments and plays with his mouse. Join him on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central for Evening Pandemonium and Moonlight Madness.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. How the heck are you? This is Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications, and we're here with Clever Title Pending. We've got a big show tonight, and the date is September 22nd, 2020. We're almost through September. Get your bingo cards ready. Anyway, thank you for watching us, whether it's live or on the repeats, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. We're glad to have you here. Please share this out with your friends, and if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and ring that bell so you'll be notified of any future broadcasts we do. Plus, give this video a thumbs up and give it a like if you would. If you're watching on Facebook, that would be great. This show is brought to you by geekinsider.com and risingtide.pub, of course. Now, I admit, one thing I love doing about this show is I get to bring my friends on and introduce them to a whole new audience. And this is a lady, I love her to death. I met her in Iowa about 3 years ago or so at an event that we're going to talk about tonight, one of its sequels. And it turned out it was the last time that event was going to go on, but she has taken over and turned it into something special. We're going to be running your comments above the crawl, and please pay attention to the crawl because we've got a special lady, and we'd love you to support her work if you would. We've had her on she's been on the morning show plenty of times, but now we are privileged to have her here. We are adding to the stream right now the one, the only Erin Casey. Erin, how are you doing tonight? Oh, wait a second. I got to unmute you. That's on me. I'm a dip. Oh, God. I knew it's too good to true. Everything's going so well. So, anyway.
It's technology.
That's okay. This is the blooper reel. Anyway, Erin, how are you?
Doing great, Brian. Doing great. So glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so pleased to have you here. Erin published. You published your first book 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yep. I can't believe it's already been 2 years. Jeez.
I know time flies when you're having fun or doing this. Yes. So yeah. But what an adventure, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is great. Go on, please.
It's been crazy. I think part of the reason I was able to promote the Purple Door District first book that came out was because I met you. And you kind of gave me all the tips where it comes to marketing and promoting the book. So I'm forever grateful for that. By the way, just so all of you know, you might see a bird dive bomb me while we're talking. It's completely normal.
Yes. In addition to being a very talented writer and show promoter, Erin is also a bird mom. Do you want to talk about your birds for a minute here?
Sure. I have 7 of them, and I know a lot of people's eyes are going to go wide. I promise 2 of them I can hold in one hand, though. I have 2 little zebra finches named Zeus and Venus, 3 doves, one of which is a rescue named Luna, Apollo, and Nova. And then the 2 dive bombers are my little parrots, Orion and Aladdin. One who is a snuggle butt and one who is a bitey butt. So we'll see which one comes after me first.
There we go. So get your scorecards ready, kids, and extra points if they happen in the first half hour. So anyway, we want to say hello to everyone who's shown up so far. Cindy Kep, Carl Witzman, Teresa Dunn, and Carleen. And of course, we have everyone so enthused about seeing you, of course. Good evening from everyone.
Everybody.
And Teresa Dunn says hello. You know Teresa.
Hey, Teresa. Cheers.
And cheers. There we go. See, she's got her merch in place here as opposed to some of us others here. There we go. And we'll be talking about the writer's room later on, too. And Cindy Cap is ready for some squawk-tastic fun.
There will be much.
There will be much squawking here. And Carleen is saying, hey there, Cindy, and what's his name? Well, they love me, I can tell. And here we go. And we've got, and Carly, you want candy? Here we go. And Cindy just doesn't know what to make of this. And Cindy, of course, waves. Oh, there we go.
First dive bomb. That's Orion.
There we go. Hi, Orion. He'll be calling his agent now. He'll want a percentage of the gross here. It's like Jimmy Durante said, everyone wants to be in the show. So anyway, while we're going through the comments, Erin, why don't you talk about yourself and talk a little about your writing history, what got you inspired, etc. And we will let you have the spotlight now.
Sounds good. Oh, I get the screen all to myself. So
I'm going out for a pizza.
Bye. Get me a pepperoni. So I grew up in Illinois and moved to Iowa. Oh gosh, 2005. Oh my God, it's been that long. Went to school at Cornell College, which I still stay very much in love with and stay in contact with everybody there. Cornell's amazing. And I'm going to plug that they now have an MFA program. So you should definitely check that out at Cornell College. So I graduated with degrees in English and secondary education and ended up going into proofreading and editing for my job at a testing facility where I still am there, but I am now a workflow manager. I would say probably the best experience I had with getting into writing was right after I graduated from Cornell. I went to the Denver Publishing Institute in Colorado, obviously Denver, in Colorado. And it's a month-long program where you learn everything you'd like to know about writing, publishing, marketing, editing, promoting your books, being an agent, etc. I actually promote the program every year at Cornell. So we've had some Cornell students go there. And that's what actually landed me my job where I am today. They were quite impressed with what I had learned. And on the day of graduation from DPI, I got a call from my job and they were like, do you want to come work for us? And I was like, yes, please. Because otherwise, it was going to be kind of tight with money. I was moving states. I had nowhere else. I was like, I need to have a solid job if I'm moving. But writing wise, oh geez. I actually grew up hating reading. I didn't like to read. I liked other people reading to me, and now it's the opposite. I don't like other people reading to me. even though there are some incredible audiobooks out there, I must say. But I would say I really started getting into writing in middle school when I was reading the Susan Fletcher dragon books. So Dragon's Milk, Dragon's Blood, Dragon's Kin, I think, or Dragon's Dove. The birds started early. So I read those, got really into dragons, started writing dragon stories on in Lisa Frank folders. Yes, I was a 80s/90s kid. And yeah, just kept getting more and more interested in writing. But the one author that really got me going was Brian Jakes, who wrote the Redwall series. And it's a fantastic book series about animals that are living in an abbey, and they wield weapons, and they fight the forces of evil. And Brian Jakes is just an incredible author. And one of the phrases he used that I try to live by is paint pictures with your words. So the whole show don't tell scenario. So I started writing a lot of different stories. I actually did some fan fiction based on Redwall for a while there because it inspired me so much. And then wrote a few books, didn't feel comfortable with putting them out there. And then I met an author through one of the Redwall sites where I was writing named A.E. Keller. And she and I started developing an urban fantasy world. And after about 10 years, I took a small portion of that world called the Purple Door District and ended up creating the series. She and I are planning on creating we are working on a larger series. The Purple Door District is just a small component of it. So we're really excited about that. And once book 3 of my PDD series comes out next year, hopefully, we're planning on sending out our first book in the Fates and Furies series. So a lot of fun stuff coming up.
That's fantastic. That is great. Let me get you. There we go. Both of us back on screen. But anyway, Aubrey, we've got something we also need to mention here from Teresa Dunn. Congratulations, Erin, for Newbie Author of the Year. Erin won a prize at the online PendCon Awards for 2020 for Newbie Author of the Year. Congratulations, Erin. Well done.
I couldn't believe it. I was so surprised and so excited. Again, everybody who voted for me, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. I was really hoping it would happen. This was my first year that was supposed to be at PendCon. Obviously, it got changed to virtual because of COVID. But it might have been a good thing because I ended up with a foot infection this week. So I don't know if I could have gone anyway.
You say it all works out for the best.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Purple Door District.
Yes.
You also have the sequel that came out last year, right?
Yep. I'm going. Sorry, Orion. I'm going to reveal the
get
covers.
Out of here, Orion. There you go. There you go. I'm going to give you the whole screen here. I'm going to give you the whole screen.
Sure.
So you can show it off.
Purple Door District came out. This is the first book in the series. Wolf Pit is the second book in the series. And yes, it's the same artist who did both covers. She is fantastic, and I love her, and I hope she'll do my third book.
What's her name?
I can't give that information.
Hoarding our artists, are we?
No, actually, not hoarding. I know she's had a lot of work lately, so I think she's been trying to stay on the down low.
Okay, all right.
So I'm not trying to be rude. I swear, she's amazing. But the first book, Purple Door District. So this is about a werebird named Bianca who's being chased by hunters, and she has no idea why. The only chance she has to survive is to find the Purple Door District of Chicago, which is a safe haven for parahumans like her. So the book is filled with werewolves, vampires, magi, all kinds of different parahumans, and it's up to them to protect her and their district from the evil forces that are following her. Wolf Pit picks up about a year and a half later, and it's a multi-POV book, so you get a feel for a lot of different characters. And this one focuses more on the werewolf and Magus aspect of the series. So werewolves are going missing in Chicago, and Tess Montgomery will do anything she can to get them back. Unfortunately, a botched mission plan causes her to end up in the hands of a hunter. And it's basically her story of trying to rescue the wolves, as well as the captives wolves trying to stay alive long enough to be rescued. So it's the second one's pretty intense. And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away.
Good girl. And if you want to find out where that's at, where these books are at, you go to Amazon right now, do a search for Erin Casey and Purple Door District. Now, you mentioned the trilogy here. Now, do you see yourself revisiting this world for maybe another story arc eventually?
Yes. So the plan is that the Chicago story arc is going to come to a close after the third book. That's not to say I won't revisit these characters. They will likely make reappearances, but this portion of it's going to close then. My next plan for the next trilogy would be in New Orleans. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But Keller and I really, really need to get Fates and Furies out first.
Understand that with somebody who just started a first draft flash fiction novel and has two others that he needs to do, or else a certain someone that lives in my house is going to kill me. Yeah, I get it totally. And also we've got a few comments here that we want to get into. Iowa. Cindy Cap from YouTube asks, how long have you been a parent?
Well, I've had Fids for probably about 5 years now. Yeah, Orion is technically Nova's the eldest because she got adopted, but I got Orion, I believe, in 2015, and he's been, it was the doves that came first. 2014, got the doves, that was Luna and Apollo, and then I got Orion like less than a year later. Sorry, Cindy, I went through a spree of buying birds within like a year. So I've been a parent for about 4 or 5 years now, or 5 or 6 years now. I can count, I can math. This is why I have a degree in English. I can't do math.
Yeah, I am the same way. When I was asked by my high school guidance counselor what I wanted to do, I said, well, I want to be a writer. And she said, well, if you go into college, you've got two choices, either liberal arts or journalism. I said, what's the difference? And the first thing she said was, there's no math requirement with journalism. I said, fine, I'm a journalist.
Yep.
That much forethought too.
Yep.
So here I am writing fiction. Anyway,
Yes.
So anyway, that's a great question. Thank you, Cindy, who who can understand being a parent too. She is into her birds as well. Sarah, glad you're here. Says Erin is a pirate with the bird on her head. That's right. We had Talk Like a Pirate Day. Not enough for Erin. She lives like a pirate. And I do so by keeping rum nearby all the time. But anyway, we have a special guest here saying, Brett Spangler saying, keep making us proud, Erin.
Hey, Brett. He's actually one of my college friends. He is awesome.
I would say very, very cool. Cindy Cap would like to know, do any of your birds star in your work?
So personally, none of them have made an appearance, but considering the first book is focused on werebirds, you can see where I got the inspiration from. They haven't actually, shockingly, they haven't appeared yet. And I keep looking over here because Orion is staring at me from above the sink. But they might. There are still more books to be had.
That's true. And we have a comment here from Steph Spitzy. Glad you're here, Steph.
Hey, Steph.
Yes, was just going to comment that I remembered the Purple Door District and thought it sounded really interesting and plan to check it out. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Steph. I really appreciate it. And
That's
I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. You will. And of course, Sarah, hopefully not confusing it with the green door, is asking what's behind the purple door.
You'll have to read and find out.
There we go. Available now on Amazon. Teresa Dunn would like to know from YouTube, asks, how did you come up with the idea of your book? What was the inspiration for that?
That's a good question. So part of it came from developing the world with A.E. Keller. So we had already had ideas for werewolves and vampires and felines as well, and our magic users. We've been through so many different edits of that, so many different trials. And we have and this is mentioned in the books, we have a government piece called Legion, and they're focused on keeping an eye on the parahumans that are in the world. But we also have this other portion called the Purple Door District. And what this haven is it's a section of different communities that have purple colored doors, purple vases, purple stairways, purple railings, just something, a certain color purple that indicates that this is a safe place for parahumans. Now, some might be more friendly to vampires, some might be more friendly to avians, you just never know. But in general, if it's purple, then they know that they can go there safely. The Purple Door District itself is led by the Violet Marshall, and she's the one who's connected with Legion. If there are problems that she can't solve or he can't solve, then she will reach out to Legion and let them know. Now, the reason why the Purple Door District became a main focus is because I love the idea of this community coming together. And one of the big things that I try to do in each of the book is, because it's centered in Chicago, I try to make it diverse and include as many voices as possible. Now, that being said, while I do write in multiple POVs that are outside of my lane, I do have sensitivity readers who will read over characters that I don't necessarily represent to make sure that I'm not making stereotypes or any faux pas, because it happens, unfortunately, and I want to make sure that I'm representing people correctly. So that's kind of where the first book came from. I wanted to do werebirds as I am a bird mom. And I've always had a fascination with birds and avian culture. And when A.E. Keller and I were kind of divvying up the different parahumans, while the felines went to her, the birds came to me. So I knew the most about their culture, while she knows way more about the feline culture, even though we've built it together. We just have more comfort writing them over each other. So that's kind of why I ended up writing about creating the Purple Door District in this series the way that I did. And I feel it's really important right now to talk about community coming together, especially with the state of the world and what it's in right now. It's wanting to be able to rely on other people, wanting to be able to fight the good fight too, and hold true to your beliefs, and just help each other out when things get really bad.
That's true. We call it rising tide here in Indiana.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, well, that's the thing. You and I are on the same page as far as helping others go. And speaking of which, hold up that mug again, because there is a beautiful logo on there. The writers' rooms. That was something you were doing, I think, when we met a couple of years ago. And Cindy Kemp, you've got some great questions coming up. Thank you for helping me segue into the next part of the show. She's a mind reader, I tell you.
She's amazing.
She is. She really is. But the writer's room, please tell us about that. How long have you had that going, and what is its mission?
So to understand the purpose of the writers' rooms, you have to understand a little bit of the backstory behind it. That's bird number 2, Aladdin.
Hi, Aladdin.
So the writers' room started out as a component of the Iowa Writers' House, which was created by Andrea Wilson back in, it's been a while. I forget the starting date of it. But the mission of the house is basically to become a central hub in Iowa for writers, to be able to have workshops there, to be able to come together as writers, to craft with one another, and to lend a voice to the community. The Iowa Writers' House has, let me backtrack. While I was serving as one of the the communication managers there, we had an idea of creating these rooms where writers could come together and write about their different genres. So that there came the Violet Realm, which is actually meeting right now, which is our sci-fi fantasy room. And ironically, it's called Violet. Of course, it's Violet. And that was before the Purple Door District came into existence, I might add. Anyway, we started creating these different rooms. So we had the Violet Realm, which is, the sci-fi fantasy. We have the Rainbow Room, which is LGBTQIA oriented, where people can feel safe and right there. We had the Scarlet Boudoir, which is our romance room. And yeah, we have quite a few. And at some point we realized that the writers' rooms could kind of stand on its own and have its own mission separate from the house, but we would still be helping each other together. So we split a few years ago, and right now our mission is to provide a free, safe writing environment for all writers, no matter your skill set, your age, your gender, your background, your race, etc. We welcome everybody in. We have a bunch of different rooms. So like I said, the Violet Realm, Scarlet Boudoir, Rainbow Room. We also have the Golden Attic, which is poetry. We have the Cedar Room, which is focused on all genre and is up in Cedar Rapids when we meet in person. We have the Parchment Lounge, which is more of our Iowa City all genre group. And then we also have our Lightless Corridor, which Brian, I think you would love because it's mystery and horror. Yeah, tickled your ear a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So those are the majority of the rooms that meet, and we meet most days out of the week. So like I said, Violet Realm's meeting tonight. COVID kind of threw a wrench into everything because this was a group that we would meet in person. We have concierges that lead the group, and this is all volunteer from the community. Our goal is to lead a 2-hour session where the concierges or members of the community will teach a lesson based on whatever the room is. And then for the next hour, we work on writing together, either with prompts or we just work on our projects. We wanted to make sure that we had a safe place for people to work on their craft together. And, just to get out of your house and meet people and not feel so alone.
Yeah.
And then COVID. No one expected COVID.
No.
So that came in. So the writers' rooms, we took a brief hiatus because we thought it might not last as long as it has thus far. But we are meeting online. We have our Facebook groups. All the rooms are still meeting. So we're doing lessons on Facebook, or we're doing Zoom conferences, stuff like that. Right now, we also publish anthologies each year, which we're trying to get more into. So these are there we go. These are anthologies that are from members of our community. Writers of the Depths is the most recent book, and we actually have applications open for Writers of the Aether. Those close on September 30th, and what we're asking for is we want poetry, short stories, graphic narrations that all focus around the element of air in some way or form. So you can find more information at thewritersrooms.org. You'll find links about the anthologies and how to submit to that. Or you can just ask me. I'm fine to help with that. But as long as you're a member of the Writers' Rooms community, which if you fill out the information for the application, you will be.
There we go. Now, do they necessarily have to be from Iowa or living in Iowa, or is this open to just about anybody?
This is open to just about anybody. The reason why we do that is because our writers come from all over. We have writers who started in Iowa and have moved out of state. We have writers who heard about us from across the country and across the seas who have been working with us for a few years. So we want to make sure that everybody can kind of get their voice in there. And yeah, we're really excited to produce the next book.
That's fantastic. That's great, and I love the fact that you guys are working towards publication and getting your name out there. I think that is fantastic. Now, speaking of fantastic, I mentioned the event that you and I met at, which was Imagine Other Worlds with Authors, IOWA. Would you like to give a history of that, as you know it, and explain what your current status is with that group? You didn't start it.
No. So Iowa's a multi-genre, multi-author book signing event that's typically held in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It was originally the brainchild of local Cedar Rapids authors Aaron Bunce and Jed Quinn, as well as Dana Beatty and Terry LeBlanc. I think when you were there too, when I got involved with them initially, it was while Dana and Terry were both leading the organization. And I was so excited to be involved with it because I was going to have a book out the next year. And I was like, this is going to be great. Because I thought the event was just so awesome because it brought together so many authors I had never heard of before. And it featured tons of indie authors, so that was providing support to them and also supporting some of the indie bookstores like M&M bookstore while it was still there. And then I found out that they were going to end Iowa, but they asked me and Alex Penland, who was my fellow director of the writers' rooms at the time, they asked us if we wanted to take the reins, and we were like, yeah, sure, we'll take over. This will be great. So we acquired it in 2018, and last year was last September actually was the first time the writers' rooms hosted Iowa, and we did it at the Cedar Rapids Public Library. And oh my gosh, Cedar Rapids Public Library is incredible, and they've just been so supportive of the event. I can't tell you how much. And you know how amazing Meredith is.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yeah. So normally we would have all of our authors in a room, and then people would come through and, look at their books and talk with them about it. Now, initially, Iowa had always been more of a book signing focused event with some readings scattered throughout. What Alex and I wanted to do was make it a bit more like a convention where you would have not only authors doing readings, but we would have panels and guest speakers and stuff like that, so that the readers who came could get more involved. They could learn more about the writing world or the reading world and ask authors their own questions. So, once it was over for last year, we thought, okay, we're going to do the same thing again. We want to have this type of programming once more. And the Cedar Rapids Library was like, yeah, let's do it again. And then COVID happened. So a few months ago, we decided to go virtual. And what we're going to do is we are still going to have an author signing event. But what we're going to do is we're hosting it on Facebook at facebook.com IA Other Worlds. And we're doing that over the course of basically a week. Normally, Iowa is 2 days. But while we are still doing the author signing portion of it for 2 days, we are also giving a week dedicated to some of the indie bookstores in Iowa, because we know they need the support and we want to show our support and our dedication to them. So from November 2nd to 6th, there will be videos recorded from local bookstores that they will talk about their bookstore, what they do, what kind of things they have to offer, and we're going to showcase it on that page. And then that weekend on the 7th and 8th of November from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on both days, our authors are going to share videos of them introducing themselves and their books. We're planning on having live panels with authors through some kind of social media. We're still working on that. We'll figure it out tomorrow, right, Brian?
Yeah. They've hired this pricey consultant.
Yeah. We had to twist his arm quite a bit.
Oh yeah. He's a jerk. I'm telling you.
Such a jerk.
I know.
So we'll do live panels as well, and then the authors will leave links to where you can purchase their books. So either you can get it directly from Amazon, or you can, what I would suggest, get it directly from the authors so you can get a signed copy. So we're super excited for that. We are already showcasing our authors. Showcasing our authors on the Other Worlds Facebook page. So stop on over. So far we have 23 confirmed authors, I believe, at least 23. And we have several bookstores who are interested in participating too. So stop on by. It's going to be amazing. We will have giveaways, and including this fancy, lovely mug. Showed off. I'll be Vanna White.
There we go.
We'll have the mugs. We'll also have a few of our anthologies available. I'm going to be one of the signing authors, so I'll have my books available as well if you want signed copies. And we have a lot of people who are joining us, including Brian and Teresa Dunn and Cindy Coep. So we have a lot of people that you guys know that will be there. So please join us and support your fellow authors.
Definitely. Well, I think that's fantastic, because, so many book shows don't last, all that long in a lot of cases, but, to see somebody pick up the reins of it and, not only keep it going, but also helping it get to the next level. I think, major kudos to you. And now this segues into Cindy Kep's questions here from YouTube. She wants to know, what's the biggest challenge for planning an event?
Whew, that's a loaded one. It's kind of like, what component?
Yeah, like what hour later?
You're right. What's the biggest challenge of marketing? What's the biggest? Honestly, I think the initial biggest challenge is finding out where you're going to have the event, whether it's a location or it's an online venue. That is one of the biggest ones. Once you have that, then you can start doing everything else. For us, the Cedar Rapids Public Library got involved with us pretty early on, so we knew real quickly where we were going to host it. And then we were planning to do it again there this year, but COVID. So now we're doing Facebook, and we had to figure out what was going to be the best platform, since most of our authors are already on Facebook, and we know that we can share videos from there to other locations. That's why we decided to center it there. And it's also something that we're all quite familiar with, so hopefully there won't be as many technical difficulties. The second biggest challenge would probably be communication, making sure that communication keeps going between the committee and the authors, the committee and the bookstores, the committee and the other committee members. Open communication is key to moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And number 3 is getting Brian to show up for all the meetings.
Also, I'm going to have to drag you by your fez next time. No, I'm kidding.
Saves me $20 downtown. Anyway, Cindy Kep has another great question here. What kind of differences are there in planning a virtual event versus a live event? And each one will have its own set of challenges, I'm sure. Just because we can do it at home doesn't mean it's easy.
I will say the one nice thing about doing the virtual event is I've learned to do a lot of things virtually, with like having our committee meetings. Trying to do a committee meeting and getting everybody in the same location at the same time is a pain in the butt. It's a lot easier doing it online. I'm just going to start with that. The biggest difference is, well, the venue for one thing. Our planning in person is based on how the library is set up, where we're going to have the authors, where are we going to have the panels, where are we going to have the other author readings or the meet and greets and things like that, versus online. Well, we're all going to have it on one page, but there's that hard decision of figuring out, okay, are we doing it on Facebook page? Are we doing it on YouTube? Are we doing it on some other venue? Are we going to have the authors do live recordings? Are we going to have them to do pre-recorded and post them up. What's live, what's not. And a lot of those decisions come from how much do we want to struggle with technology on the day of the event, and how much we want to make sure that all of our authors and people have a chance to share what they want to share without the stressors of worrying about, oh crap, why isn't my mic working, or why isn't my camera working? So our plan is to have authors pre-record their material, but they will be present during the event. So as people are listening to their videos or watching them, they can comment and the authors can comment on that. So it was kind of like a balance between being live, but also doing the pre-recording. Panels we're planning on doing live, but we're planning to do it this way through like, StreamYard or some other website, so we don't have everybody coming together in one room where we shouldn't be. Also, a few people are from out of state. That'd be kind of hard to make that jaunt. So it's different. I will say one thing I'm grateful for with the virtual too is that I don't have to kill a lot of trees by printing out programming and then hand stapling all of them the night before the events.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah.
It saves us some time. There's also the thing we have to consider about what we would charge our authors. So Iowa is technically our big fundraising event for the year. The Iowa Writers House, the Writers Rooms is a nonprofit corporation. So the money that we get comes from the community. So we get it through Patreon for people who donate to Patreon, which all that money ends up going to our website. It goes to running Zoom so we can have large group readings with everybody. It goes to keeping our website running, putting together different events that people can go to. And we decided, because of COVID too, we wanted to make it more accessible to people who might not have as much money because of COVID. So we completely lowered the price on that, made it a lot cheaper, while still giving fundraising to the Writers' Room so that we can do marketing and get prizes and stuff like that. I know a lot of other venues are still trying to figure out what do we do for virtual since we can't do in person. So Icon, which is going to be programming October 10th, they're going virtual and trying to figure out those components. PenCon just did theirs last week. And I think you said Imaginarium is this week?
Yeah, Imaginarium is going on right now. In fact, it will be going on till Friday. So
check them out.
Yeah, check them out. Seriously, I will be on... let me get my calendar here. Friday afternoon at 4 p.m., we're going to talk about networking. Thank you for allowing me to promote myself, Erin. You're the best.
Of course.
Of course.
Rising tide.
Exactly. That's my girl. Anyway, well, you mentioned, the virtual and the, in-person convention.
Yeah.
We all have to have faith that the My Sharona Miley Cyrus will eventually run its course. When that happens, are you still going to have an online presence and a physical one, or will it be one over the other? Or will it depend on how this year goes?
Well, part of it will depend on how this year goes, I think. We were thinking about that of if we're able to do it online, would we want to do an online component at the same time as like we next year if we do it in person? And honestly, I think I like the idea of doing some programming online, especially for people who can't make it to the library, or again, it's more accessible to people, those who maybe just can't come out because of autoimmune disease, or heck, if they have a foot infection or something else going on, they'd still be able to somehow attend and see the authors and learn what's going on. So what I would love to see is we would meet in person again, because I feel like that's a great way for people to meet the authors. But I would love to have panels recorded online. I would love to maybe do author interviews online so that we go around the room and interview the different authors so they can talk about themselves and their books. So they get a chance to show off online as well. And, more people can get to meet them. Hi, baby.
There we go.
Has to show off. So yeah, I think we'd like to do both an online and in-person component, but we're going to We're gonna have to see what COVID does. You can sit up there, just don't poop on me.
Which is good advice for life. Anyway,
Right.
As I always say these things when she's taking a drink, I should know better. I'm sorry. Cindy Cap also asks if everything goes according to Hoyle, who doesn't show up to the meetings either. What will Iowa Imagine Other Worlds with authors accomplish? I think you've touched on it a little bit, but with the idea that we're meeting authors and providing a venue also for sales and such.
Yep.
So. And Cindy kept, yep, we hear you, Bird. I hear your cohort contributing. Squawk boxes are fun.
Yeah, they are.
And Dave Wood, I'm glad to see you here, fella. Hope your night's going well. That's good on having a crew to check things when you are not fully familiar with a certain group of people. And you have been vetting, the people that have applied.
Yep. We've gone through our different authors to decide, and we're pretty lenient. We're pretty lenient about our authors, but we want to make sure that they're going to be supporting each other and not just themselves. Because again, rising tide mentality, and also, supporting the bookstores as well. So, and I got to say, I love having a committee helping me out with this, because trying to be the event coordinator of one is not fun.
You've done that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you and Alex would have done the first year, right?
We did, and then Alex got this amazing opportunity over in Scotland. So so Alex had to leave, but in the beginning we were doing everything together, and it was great. So I did have people helping me near the beginning of the first one, but yeah, that was a big change we weren't expecting when we took Iowa on, but I'm so glad Alex has had this opportunity, has been able to go over there.
Yeah, I remember she was asking all of her friends online, it's like, should I do this? I'm like, why are you asking us?
Right. Why would you say no?
Right. It's insane.
Right. And Alex, Alex was just like, we were so excited to do it together that first year, and I know she was so sad not to be there, but I'm like, I think a trip from Scotland over to here is going to be a little bit of a big one.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, well, when she comes back, I'm sure there'll be a place for her at the table.
Definitely.
Of course.
Definitely.
Yeah, great. Cool. And Cindy Kemp has another question from YouTube there. Iowa is multi-genre. How do you plan for so many different needs? That's one thing I did like about when I was in Iowa, my year there, was that it wasn't just, like so many shows are just romance.
Right.
Or primarily romance. But there was I don't know that there was a whole lot of it when I attended. Because I know Aaron Bunce, he writes like fantasy and such. You're writing fantasy.
Yep.
I write just about anything.
Alex does Hogwarts and Hogwarts in space. That's her thing.
Yeah. So there were different genres represented, but how do you make sure that they get the time they need to Bird? Don't cut in front of the talent. That's the one thing they teach you in bird school. But anyway, keep track, folks. Anyway, but no. How do you make sure everybody gets their time in the spotlight? Is that a tough balancing act for you?
We try to make a nice mix of the different genres to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of focus. The one thing that we do is when we make the promotional cards for them is we say what genre they write. So right off the bat, what kind of authors you're going to be meeting. When we met in person, we had like the sci-fi writers together, fantasy writers together, children writers together, etc. So everybody got a chance to meet with each other and at least be with their own genre. And we would direct people too. So that was one of the things we did to make sure that got showcased. When we post about the authors online, we also make sure to explain what genres they are as well, so that they get support. And we've had more, I would say, nonfiction writers this year than I expected, which is good. But we have a mix. We've got romance, we've got poetry, we've got nonfiction, fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, historical fiction, amateur detective hour. You know, we got a nice mixture of different authors, and I think that's going to be great. Because, I mean, just because you might not be as interested in, say, an element of fantasy, you can still get to meet a fantasy author and go, oh, their book actually sounds very interesting. And the same thing with going and meeting somebody who writes poetry or nonfiction.
Yeah, yeah. I love the idea of grouping the genres together, because I know from doing a number of book shows that again they're usually about romance, and that's dandy because I read and write romance too. But it's like oh, I love romance. Then they look down my table. Oh dear God, so you gotta have your psychic shields up to a large degree too. Well,
that was part of the reason that we wanted to keep authors together in their genres, was so you didn't have people do that attitude of like, I'm going to skip right over you when you're sitting right between two romance authors.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hear you. And Cindy, here's a familiar squawk. If it comes up on the board, there it goes. Conyer, I thought that was the squawk I heard.
2 Conyers, a sun, and a green cheek turquoise. Orion's like, why am I on camera? Put it down. Buddy, hey, you're the one who landed on my head.
That's right, Bird. Don't be thinking you can sit on the sidelines when you get on camera. And be careful, Bird. I got questions for you too. Okay, begin the brutal interrogation. Now, Sarah has a vital question here, and I think she knows the answer because I know how she thinks. Do the birds poop on you?
I've been working very hard. Do not call me a liar, Bird. I've been working very hard on training them and not to poop on me. Accidents do happen. There is such a thing called a morning poop. When you take your bird out of the cage for the first time, make sure they go to the bathroom before they go anywhere near you. Otherwise, you end up going to work with poop down your back. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm also careful when I get out of my cage too. So yeah, I get it.
Don't poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear, my God. Don't get in the way between him and the Charmin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Carl's mocking Sarah with his laughter, and Sarah is putting on her best actress face by looking innocent. And there's our guy Trevor Hawkins. Hello, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor.
And we've got one of those authors proudly speaking up right now. Teresa Dunn is one of the authors. In fact, I've shared on my pages the current roster of people that are attending Iowa this year, and we hope you'll check it out. Seriously, It's going to be a very, very good time. And speaking of great authors, hello from Amy Hale. Good to see you, hon. My computer is being real slow, so sorry about the comments not showing up instantaneously. And it's good to see you too, Amy. And AuthorAmyHale.com, Author Amy Hale on Facebook, and Amy Hale's Angels. See, not that I've memorized any of this stuff. So
not at all.
Not me. I can't remember my stuff or my wife's phone number, but by God, I got everybody else's stuff. And Cindy Cap asks, what do you hope participants will do? Probably aside from show up.
Show up, obviously. Yes. Interact with the readers, have readers interact with the authors, ask questions. Like, I really want people to be able to ask questions of each other. So participants, as in both the authors who are attending and the readers who are attending. We want the people who attend to really, everybody to just get to know another author and make new friendships, make new connections. I mean, like Brian said, he and I met through Iowa, and we've been friends ever since. And I guess crazy minds think alike. And so, I mean, I would love to see lasting friendships come from it. I'd love to see people find connections that allow them to get their books other places, or maybe find new creative ideas as well. And for the readers who join us, hopefully find their new favorite author, learn something more about the writing world and the reading world. We are going to have a section about book clubs, courtesy of Meredith from the Cedar Rapids Public Library. So there's a lot of different things that you can learn and just experience over the course of that week. Plus, you might find your new favorite bookstore. A lot of these bookstores, I would like to mention, are doing virtual sales because people can't come in person. So you can support them by buying from their stores. And I'm going to call out Haunted Bookshop, for example, because they do grab bag orders too as well. And they got some awesome stuff. Yes.
That's fantastic. Very cool. Yeah, and it's really great to see like the library participating in this and the bookstores, because you don't see that in a lot of these virtual shows. And let's see, Cindy Kep also asks, have you picked out your panels yet?
We do have some in motion that we're planning on. I will mention a couple. I don't want to mention all of them because that would ruin the surprise. Plus, we still have to send them out to the authors to get them involved. I can't say the book club one is one of them that we thought that would be really good for both author and for reader. But we are planning on doing something about like marketing 101, for example, because we've had a lot of people asking, okay, I've written a book. How do I market it? How do I publish it? How do I do all these elements? And I think that'll be really beneficial both for the writers as well as the readers, so these are the steps that the authors have to take in order to get their books to come out. Plus the cool swag that you get, why that swag is designed the way it is, So it'll be fun. But we have several panels planned, and we will put those up in the schedule once those are definite.
Okay. Will the schedule go up on the IA
Other
Worlds page on Facebook? Is that it? Okay.
It'll be on there, and it'll also be on the writersrooms.org/Iowa. We're hosting the information in both locations, so people can find it. It'll be the same information, but we want to make sure people can find it and know where to go.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Sarah knows how she wants this show to go. She is saying the birds might do an Amy Hale. Amy Hale is now going, I'm going to punch Sarah whenever I meet her. Anyway, and Carl Witzman saying, Sarah, you are focused on bird elimination. We're getting a frightening glimpse into Sarah's character tonight. And Becca Colgrove, have to say hello to you. Mwah, happy post-birthday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Becca's one of the people I met at PennCon. And, that's kind of, it's kind of tough, like you said, that we had these shows and we were going to be at PennCon this year. Yeah. And then, it happened. So we didn't, get to have this contact. Now, how many other shows do you do during the year? Aside from the Iowa-based show?
Well, so funny thing, this was going to be the first big year of all my shows that I was going to attend, and then they all basically got canceled. But the main ones that I tend to do is obviously Iowa. I do a lot of shows involved with the Indie Author Book Expo run by Jen Thompson. So she's putting out a lot of different signing events in the Iowa area, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, I believe.
Nebraska, I think. Yes. Yeah.
So she's putting a lot of those on, which you should show support for IABE because it really, really helps out other authors and it helps her out too. I've done a lot of local events. Trying to remember the names of them off the top of my head. It's been a while. Icon is definitely one that I usually do, which I am signing up to be a participant of that. And the Violet Realm should be part of Icon this year too. Sure. I am planning on recording a session about I've written a book, now what? So you should definitely stop by Icon. My goal usually is to try to get one event a month to attend, and I try. It doesn't always happen because I also have to consider mental health, and I also work full time. So taking time off of work can be rough. One of the other, Aladdin. One of the other big events is the Des Moines, the big Des Moines signing that Jen also puts on. That one is big. And they did go in person this year. I chose not to just because COVID. I'm slightly higher risk, but they all wore masks. They were all very safe about it. So those are just some of them. Brian, some of them I've learned from you. So if you got some more you want to showcase, please do.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, yeah, I will be appearing at Non-Con number 5. They've had 5 non-cons. Embrace that, if you will. And it's going to be it's a paranormal convention, actually.
Oh, cool.
But Amy Hale will be there, Charles F. Millhouse, and Molly Daniels will be there, along with John B. Pica and Magi Jake Caretaker, some great illusionists and authors there. And that will be at the Poasttown Elementary School, P-O-A-S-T, Town Elementary School, 6600 Trenton Franklin Road in Middletown, Ohio. Nice. Do a search for Non-Con 5 on Facebook. Also, the doors will open Saturday at 9 p.m., close at 6, and then Sunday will be 9 to 5, just like the Dolly Parton song. And and I should say, big guest will be arriving. The logistics for her are being worked out even as we speak. Cookie Morris will be there.
Oh, and I'm gonna miss
it. I know, and everyone will see the mysterious hands that frequently appear on this show, and the woman who brings me coffee. So yeah, you'll get, Cookie is not just some sort of Norman Bates thing I've got cooked up. It's she's a real person, probably more real than I am, and she will be there in her full regalia, and she's as eager to see everybody as we are. So.
Well, Cookie, I'm sorry I'm going to miss you. One of these days I will meet her.
You will. She would love to meet you too. Because I've told her about you and a number of my friends, and about the only person she's sick of is probably me. So I understand it. I really get it. But anyway, we hope everybody will come out to a Non-Con 5 and check out their Facebook page. Jason Snyder saw you earlier. Hope you're having a great night. And I think they still may have some last second spaces available. Plus, all precautions will be taken. There will be social distancing between dealers. There will also be masks are mandatory, and I'm not talking about your Batman or your Green Lantern mask either. We're talking about some lower half of the face. Think 1940s Green Hornet. Because he had that mask along the lower half of his face in the serials and in the comics. And I'm thinking, some enterprising soul ought to be making like masks with the Hornet symbol on them right now.
Right.
Get past the marketing and everything. But that, and I've got Kokomo Con on October 17th. Again, masks will be mandatory. Space and distancing will be observed. And it's going to be a fun time. And those are my only 2 live events right now. So unless, and that's the thing, it's like, you talked about how you were going to do more this year. I, on the other hand, was cutting back.
I know we were going to do the opposite, which I found funny.
Yeah, and it's like, boy, howdy, be careful what you ask for. It's probably all my fault, folks. It's probably all,
Darn it, Brian.
I know, everybody's blaming the Hunan province for it, so I'll take it. My God. I'm deflecting the blame. So anyway, Carl Witzman, I think we've answered your question here, brother. But he asks, so will there be a link somewhere that will lead us to the Iowa event? Yes, there will.
Yep.
Yeah, and plus we will be cross-promoting all of us. That's one thing I liked about Iowa the year I was there, that a lot of shows hope that you will promote them.
Right.
Whereas it's kind of a rule with the Iowa shows, which I think is brilliant. I mean, when the year I was there, I was told, you either, especially if you're new, you either promote or you run a risk of not having a table. And I'm like, yeah. Let's do that.
The problem that we've run into in the past is that you have authors who they'll share like the photo of themselves, but then they maybe like other photos or just don't do anything else. They're more concerned about their stuff, which I understand. Like, you want to be able to promote yourself, but part of Iowa is being able to support each other, to come together as a community, to help everybody see like this is what's going on. Plus, the more you promote other authors, the more likely other people will see it, which means more people may come. Carl, I also wanted to mention, want to check it out right now. You can go to thewritersrooms.org/Iowa or go to Facebook at IA Other Worlds. Those are the two places where you can find the information as well as our list of authors.
There we go. Love you, but love you too, Becca. And Cindy Kep asks, cosplay or not cosplay? This is how I dress.
Is she asking for the event that you're going to, or just in general, cosplay or no cosplay?
I don't know that there'll be any cosplay at my event. I'm certain they wouldn't turn it down. I really don't know. Now the people could cosplay for Iowa, couldn't they?
This is true. If they wanted to dress up to do their recording, I'm good with that. I don't care.
There you go. There you go. As long
More
as you're
power
dressed.
to you. Right.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. You have to be dressed. That is a prerequisite.
Fully dressed, or because this may affect my performance.
Well, whatever we see on camera has to be dressed. I don't care what's going on downtown as long as we don't see it.
Okay.
I should have given you an idea. I knew I was going to get that one.
I was like, be careful for the behind the scenes broadcast for Brian's segment there. And everyone, and Becca is calling out for Jenna Jacob, and hope she shows up. We'd love to have more people. Thank you, Becca. Yes, thank you so much. And Meredith Loughran, whose dulcet tones you heard at the top of this program. And come on, computer, speed up today, please. There we go. Popping in late. Hello, Erin and Brian and the cool kids on YouTube. Mwah. Glad to see you here, Meredith. And also don't forget Wild One Forever every morning. Wildoneforever.com. It's a great way to start your day. And let's see. Let's get down here. I think we got some. Oh, here we go. Cindy Kep. Hope I hit the right one. Yeah, there it is. Man, I got to reboot this computer later.
It's like, no, do not want to work.
Not now. But Cindy Cap says, consider QuadCon. There are many of them, and they're everywhere. Yeah, there are some like in Western Illinois and Eastern Iowa, I believe. So that's something I can think about. Yeah, and I think Cindy, am I correct? I think I saw that safety measures will be undertaken for these.
Good,
I'm glad to say. And let's see. And Carl Witzman does our public service announcement here. For those of you who came in late, those birds are supposed to be on her. Nothing to worry about. And by the way, we'll be interviewing them in November. They will have their own segment of Clever Title Pending. And we're
not having a Hitchcock episode, I promise.
No shower scenes or nothing. But anyway, Becca Colgrove Writers on the River. Jenna Jacob will be there. Oh, right. Very cool. Very cool. And Cindy Cap wants to know what's aside from Iowa, what's your next project?
Oh goodness. So writers' rooms wise, then the anthology is the next big project for us, is getting that published. Selecting our pieces and then getting published. Me personally, I have two projects that are on the burner right now. One of them is an LGBTQIA fantasy dragon book that I've been working on. It's a YA story I've been working on for the past couple years. And I had put it on hold for a little bit because I was working on Purple Door District, but I'm actually trying to prepare it for Pitch Wars on Twitter, which the door is opening on September 27th. Pitch Wars is basically you apply to be paired with a mentor, and they work with you on perfecting your book, and then it goes before an agent showcase in February. So you have an opportunity to get your book published, and that's what I'm hoping to happen with this book. At the same time, I'm also going to be working on the third book in the Purple Door District. Normally, they were coming out in December each year, but this year, partially COVID and not to bring the mood down, but I lost my mother in March, not to COVID, but it was sudden. And I had a major writer's block for about 6 months, I would say. I only just now started to be able to work on writing again, which is why I think I'm working on the Dragon book. My mother was very supportive of my craft. She was the one who would read through my books, would talk to me about them, and I still remember in I think it was college. I wrote a story. She read the ending of it, and she had read a chapter, and she had to go to bed because she was so sad that I killed a character.
Oh no!
She's like, I don't want to talk to you right now. But she was very supportive about with my writing. So when I lost her, it felt like a part of my writing spirit went with her. And I recently had an additional bit of closure with her. So I think I'm getting the writing energy back again. And I know she would want me to keep writing, for one thing. And let's just say that my mom, her essence kind of makes an appearance in book 3. And I'm also working on writing some short stories for the Purple Door District. So speaking of Patreon, I do have my own Patreon page. That's patreon.com / Erin Casey. I usually post either a short story from the Purple Door District or early chapters of the Purple Door District monthly. Right now, it's kind of they come as they come because I'm still in that place of trying to get writing on there. But if you have read the Purple Door District, there are some stories about Bianca and Kat. There's some stories about Trish and Gavin. And if you've read Wolf Pit, well, there's some additional stories. You should check them out. They're a lot of fun to write. And I am also taking requests for writing about certain characters. So you can get all of the short stories and also see the book early for $1 a month. So I think that's a pretty nice deal.
That is, and Patreon is a great way to stay in touch with, your writer, the people you admire, as well as for creators to have a more personal dialogue with the people that support them. I've got a friend who I've known him for 30, close to 40 years,
Oh, wow.
and he's a very prominent artist, and he is busy as hell because his Patreon keeps him that way. He's got
That's
a great
awesome.
following. Yeah, and he said he's given up. But he comes onto Facebook to just ask a question and just kind of like unwind for a little bit. Who goes to Facebook to unwind anymore?
Right?
Especially,
I usually go to get wound up.
Yeah, exactly. Especially this close to election season, it's like, oh my god, I gotta have a talk with the boy. But no, and he told me once that he found more personal dialogue with the people that genuinely support him because I'm sure you're like me, you've got like a ton of friends on your Facebook friends list, but how many do you actually know and interact with?
Very true.
In this way he's got people that are genuinely interested in what he does. So like I said, I've recently had a soft opening for my own Patreon page, and
nice.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm getting to see why people like it, and and it's one of those things where I didn't, not to make the show about me because I've got three other shots during the week. Okay, but anyway, but no, never mind. Furthermore, 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Never pass up a chance to promote. But anyway, no. I find it, I wasn't going to start my page until like I had X number of followers here, then translate to my YouTube page, X number of followers there. And then I just happened to mention it casually last week that I had this page, that it existed, and I already have like some people already signed up for it. So it's
that's awesome.
I'm floored by it. I really am. And I tried it a few years ago, and I recognized that it takes some effort. You just can't set it and forget it. You've got to really make it a place. These people are paying you money every month
Right.
Even if it's just $1, they're still giving you something, and you should give something back. And that's where I screwed up the first time. But this time I have mended my ways, and I'm posting all kinds of stuff before anyone else can see it. In fact, my first draft flash fiction novel, I'm encouraging people to give me comments.
Oh, that's perfect.
And maybe change the course of where the story goes or how we're telling it. And I came up with something today, and we're going to break the news here, that I started this novel, and one of the characters I had not come up with a name for.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you see where I'm going here. One of them will wind up being could wind up being a bad guy in my book, this flash fiction book of mine. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
I thought that would be fun. I haven't set the parameters yet for it, but so far I'm thinking one room, one knife, only one person comes out. But anyway,
dun dun dun.
Yeah, plotted in Indiana, edited in Thunderdome. But anyway, but yeah, I can see that, and I'm glad you mentioned the Patreon, because I don't think I was aware that you had one. We talk about the Patreon pages, and we should.
I think a lot of people forget that they're out there, and people also feel uncomfortable asking other people for money. But it's like, the thing you have to remember is you're doing a service. I'm a writer. I'm putting work out there. You're getting something that other people aren't going to see. And like I said, people who join my Patreon get to see Wolf Pit while it's in production. You get earlier chapters. You get to see the book. And it's like not as clean stages, just to see kind of how it progresses. I usually show off cover art, character art there, and it's fun to be able to be involved with the readers that way too, and to also give them the option of, okay, if you want to learn more about a character, who would you want me to write about? And I've had a couple people shout names at me, which is why there is a story about Trish and Gavin, because everybody's like, I want to know more about Gavin. Nice. So I love when you write a certain character and a bunch of people cling to them.
Well, that means that you've touched them, that they identify with them. So yeah, good work.
It's great. And I try to support a lot of different authors on Patreon as well. And it's a way for authors to be able to keep writing and doing their craft, while also, the money that I make from there goes towards my website primarily, and also towards helping me attend or pay for publishing my own books, because I self-publish the Purple Door District. All of this has basically come out of my pocket, except for doing some fundraising events. So, honestly, some person might be like, oh, it's $1. What's that going to get the author? And it's like, actually, every dollar counts. So just say it.
Yeah, it's a great attaboy, if nothing, or attagirl in this case.
Yeah, that too.
I want to be fair. Don't want anybody canceling me. So anyway, let's get back to your comments here. Cindy Kemp would like to know, what is your favorite marketing trick?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You're the guest star. You're the star here. I'm just the moderator.
Most of the marketing tips I learned from you, though. I would say
go ahead and relate them, and I'll drink a glass of water at the same time.
No cafefe today.
No, it'll keep me up all night, and I gotta get ready for Friday. So
good point. I would say one of the biggest tips when it comes to marketing is making connections, because you can have the best book covers, you can have the best swag, but if you have nowhere to send it, you have nobody who's going to help showcase it for you, that it may not go very far. So you want to find people like Brian. That way. Like Brian, who knows people. I'm turned around. You want to find people like Brian who knows other people, who can give you connections, and also obviously also forming an awesome friendship. But that's kind of how you learn the change in the marketing strategies too. Because what I learned from like Denver, I learned a lot from Denver, and I use a lot of those marketing strategies, but things are changing based on technology, and even COVID marketing has to change because we're not all meeting in person. So if you're connected with other people and you see them adjusting their marketing strategies, you can learn to adjust yours too. And you kind of test it out for each other. So it's, again, a rising tide where you support one another.
Definitely. And if nothing else, especially during times like this, it's so nice to be able to reach out to, dear friends, and know that you're not in the trenches alone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a little bit of what we talked about before the show. It's just nice to know that, it's not just happening to us.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say with marketing is learn to breathe. Marketing, when you're an indie publisher or indie author, and you're doing your own marketing strategy, it's really easy to get swept up in everything and to get overwhelmed. And real talk right now, I think a lot of writers do struggle with anxiety, depression, and showing that, promoting themselves, showing themselves off, which is why it's also nice to have somebody else who can promote you. But it can be too much. Going on social media all the time can be too much. So creating a schedule of when you maybe want to post stuff, or being able to pre-schedule things like you can do on Facebook is sometimes really helpful, so you can give your mental health a break. Because if you break trying to market yourself, you're not going to have any energy left for self-healing or for working on your book.
Very good. Very true. Very true. Sarah would like to know, what are you planning to be creative for Halloween, or are you?
Well, I'm not planning on really going anywhere for Halloween because COVID, but I'm hoping to help run some writing events online, especially in preparation for Nano season. So I might just dress as a crazy bird lady. I kind of have the costume already, right? Hi, buddy.
Good cosplay there.
But I also have kind of gotten really involved with this game called Animal Crossing, and they're supposed to have Halloween and October events. So if I get creative or cosplay that way, it'll probably be through my character on there.
There we go. Yeah, I'm glad you reminded us, that National Novel Writing Month is coming up in about 4 weeks or so ish.
Yeah, about 4 weeks.
Yeah, and October's. Yeah, I know. And October's where you start planning for it.
Do prepping.
I think what I may do is I may just do a chapter of my my flash novel every night for that.
That would be great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, because I wrote Aquatic, which was supposed to be my fantasy romance, and it still is in the editing stages. So I don't know if I can really justify using that as my excuse 2 years in a row. But no, I think I will do it. No, and now you, Erin.
I think so. When I did though, part of the reason the Purple Door District ended up coming into existence was I wrote the entire book in the month of November. The first draft anyway. And then most of Wolf Pit was also written in November. So I'm hoping to work on book 3 for November this time around. And for those of you who don't know, National Novel Writing Month is a month where you try to write 50,000 words from the 1st of November to the end of November. It is a national thing or international thing, I think now.
I think it's international.
And yeah, it's international. Will you boys stop fighting? It's an international thing where you can join people online on the NaNoWriMo site. You can share what you're working on. If you win, you hit those 50,000 count. You actually do get prizes and stuff like that. So discounts on editing sites or Scrivener, which is a great formatting site for books and writing site. You get like 50% off of that if they're doing that this year. I will say that NaNoWriMo has said they are not doing any official in-person events this year due to COVID. So that's why, like, the writers' rooms, what we usually do every year is, instead of having our lessons during the week, we just leave it as writing time for Nano. So I have a feeling we'll be doing a lot of writing events during that time period to encourage people to work on their crafts. So hopefully people will do that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of doing some writing sprints.
Yes, writing
And
sprints
that,
are amazing.
yeah, they are. We're thinking about through Rising Tide having some of the what they call the Pomodoro things. It's that little tomato timer.
Oh,
They're called Pomodoros.
okay.
And I just learned this myself, but you set it for about 15-20 minutes and you just type. And I'm thinking maybe we'll do some of those in some evenings.
Do that
on the Rising Tide Network. So yeah.
Funny story. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and maybe we can do something to cross promote the writers' room too as well. We can work on that together.
I would love that. Writing sprints are so much fun. I do have a funny story with that, though. Okay. One of the first Nano events I went to, we were working on writing, and then somebody goes, "Hey, does anybody want to sprint with me?" And people are like, "Oh yeah, we'll do that." And I'm sitting there going, "Who the crap wants to sprint around the library? What?" I'd never heard of writing sprints before.
Yeah, it's like, hey, folks, I'm going to do some push-ups. Who's with me? You know, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Like, I know we like to procrastinate, and sometimes fresh air helps the mind, but I ain't getting my butt up. No way.
Oh God, no. Both my feet don't leave the ground unless something's chasing me, and it better be big. So yeah. Now, Cindy Kep would like to know: do you write in other genres?
Good question. I'm primarily a fantasy writer, but I write different subgenres of it. So I do urban fantasy and I do medieval fantasy, because it's more of the European fantasy, I guess you can say. That's a trilogy that is actually sitting on the back burner. Talk about all the projects I still need to finish. The 3 books are written. I'm just too scared to publish them. But I do also dabble in poetry and short prose. But yeah, the fantasy, urban fantasy, those are my primary go-tos. And sometimes just general fiction. And after my mother passed, writing general fiction stories more about feelings and stuff and things like that actually helped get the creative juices flowing.
That's great. That is great. Now, Cindy Kep also says that, yes, QuadCon is mask required. Social distancing enforced. At the Altoona one, temps were taken to get through the door.
Nice.
I like that. And I've got something in mind for people that don't want to wear a mask where they can get their temperature taken. And the next QuadCon is this weekend in Coralville.
I didn't know that.
This is the learning place, Erin. This is where we come to learn things. So, see, I learn something every damn minute when I do these shows. So, the one thing I haven't learned is stop doing them. But anyway, Trevor Hawkins, my good friend, says, so shouldn't the birds be interviewed on Nevermore the Furthermine? That's a thought. That's a thought. They are going to get their own show. They get their own. See, they have their own YouTube channel now, I believe, by probably, right? Their own streaming service.
They wish. They do.
I bet.
They do get some time on Instagram and videos and pictures, so they can become famous there. The little goof-butts.
Yeah, really. They're adorable. And Cindy says it's a virtual hug.
Hugs to you, virtual. Hugs to you, Cindy. Hugs to you, virtual. God.
Yeah. No, not. Yeah, I know. It's a lot of pressure being on this show. You can understand how I crumble every week. So
COVID brain.
Yeah, that's my excuse too. Her COVID brain. Anyway, Cindy Kep says, "Have you ever done serials?"
Ooh. I think the closest I've done to that is basically writing the short stories for Purple Door District. I kind of have a serial of that going on Patreon right now. So they're snippets from the world that are standalone stories, but they're all involved with that world. You don't necessarily have to have read the books to read them. It makes more sense if you read the books too, to understand how they fit into the world. But that's probably as close as I've gotten to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a good question there. Thank you, Cindy. And Rick Bradley, who I hope will participate in NaNoWriMo, says maybe an episode could be done in the future about having a Patreon. I'm sure Erin would like to help with that episode.
Of course, I'd love to.
I'd love for her to also. And it's surprising how many other people have Patreons, like Anna Maria Salvaggio, who was on the show yesterday. Never mind furthermore, and John B. Pica has one.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Nash has one. A lot of people use that as a good platform, like I said, for staying in touch with their audience.
Alex Penland has one as well, and another author I know, Leslie Kung, has one. Shauna McGuire has one as well, and she posts a lot on there. So yeah, there's a lot of people who do post on Patreon. It's pretty awesome.
It really can be, yeah. And this could be Cindy Cap has a thing here. Do you nano?
Yes, I nano.
Oh, I've been known to. I nano good. Anyway, actually, I'm up to no good. But anyway.
Sometimes you nano.
Oh, no. Mine's more like nano. No. Not Brian. Meredith Walkren says, I want to do nano. I just don't know if I have the time. Well, that's the thing. Here's what I think, if I can interject something here, that even if you try, even if you start, you haven't failed. Yep. Because you started. There are so many, and this is something I talk about frequently, in that, I talk to authors who say, well, my book sold 3 copies. And I'm like, well, at least you had the stones to put your book out there.
Right.
And you got it out into the marketplace. You took every step you could to make it look as good and read as good as you could. So you got nothing to apologize for. And my first time in NaNoWriMo was 2015. I quit after the second day because the same thing. I didn't do my prep in October like I should have. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I was, first day I started, I'm in the weeds because I hadn't done any research. I barely had a plot. And so then, when I did it again last year, I had everything in place by the end of October, and I was just waiting to do it. In fact, I wrote, I managed to get something like 67,000 words.
Nice.
Thank you. With about 4 or 5 days to go in the month. And Carl Witzman here did his book, The Mad Gasser Cheerleader of Calhoun County. Again, based on a real story out of Mattoon, Illinois, where we would have been at Silicon this year. But so it's a really useful thing. And the support system is amazing.
It really is. I would say, so Nano has allowed me to actually complete several books. Because I started a fresh page when I did Nano, but I just added on to my book. So it helped me get through the trilogy. A couple tips, Meredith, to keep in mind with if you don't think you have the time is when you hear 50,000, it's a really daunting number. But if you break it up, it's 1667 words a day. That's not a lot of words. It's really not a ton. And if you can, find an hour in your day where you can sit down and write that out, you can do that. Or if you think, okay, plan your weeks out. Go, okay, I know I'm going to be busy these 2 nights, but I'll be free these 3 nights. Make those the nights that you get a lot more done so that you have that cushion. The other thing to consider is sprint writing, not run writing, but sprint running. And either, set a timer for 15 minutes, or if you find that you're waiting for something to be done, you're waiting for the laundry or just a phone call, sit down, just write what you can out of your head as fast as you can. Get it done on the page, and you'll be surprised with how many words you can come out with in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's finding those little bits of time. I find that I'm a better sprint writer than I am a long runner, which is very true in real life as well.
You and me both. Yeah. And I'm finding, that you kind of wear yourself down physically and psychically. If you sit there and think, I've got to sit in a chair for 8 hours and type until my fingers start bleeding, but you do that 10-minute, you do the time period, then you get up, even if you're in the middle of a word, you get up and you take a break, you get something to drink, you go to the bathroom, you do what you have to do to stretch a little, maybe do a few exercises, and plop your butt back in the chair and do it again. For as long as you feel you've got the mojo. So and it's a lot of it is time management. So it can be done. But like I said, just trying. It puts you light years ahead of so many people. And Cindy Kep says, I hear you. I will either be script writing or editing.
Nice.
So seriously, she's working on her first graphic novel script right now.
That's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah, so and it's not showing up yet. So anyway, slow computers. Sorry about that. But anyway, Cindy Kep also says your children are multiple species. Do they play nicely together?
Let's just say we have certain cage times. So the two male doves don't like each other, so they have to be out at different times. The two male doves like to pounce the female dove, so the female dove has to be out at a different time. The two conures tolerate each other, so they can be out together. I just keep an eye on them and also listen for the squawking. The conures actually all get along with the doves. The doves are kind of like, I'm going to poof at you, but I'm okay otherwise. So, and the finches do what finches do, and they usually just, hang out in their nests and play with each other. So they're usually good.
There you go. And Joe Dog McKeel says, sorry, I had to step away. What did I miss? Start over. We've just been vamping till you could come back. Okay, Joe. We haven't said a damn thing.
Nothing
not
interesting.
a one.
Nothing interesting.
No. If you want interesting, you go to Stupid O'Clock Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or Saturdays at 10 p.m. for that after hours convention talk. You know you love it. You crave it. You can't get enough of it. So anyway, check out that show. It is awesome. And Sarah makes a comment here. Hashtag goofbutts. We're in the room, Sarah. We're in the room. All right. Good Lord. Some people, I tell you. Anyway, we love you, Sarah. Anyway, yeah, that's right. Keep those cards and letters coming. And Rick Bradley says, I'll definitely be taking part in NaNoWriMo this year.
Awesome.
That is great. That is great. And one thing I found helpful when I did it last year was every day I posted how many words I made.
Mm-hmm.
And some days I was very good. Some days I had I got 200 words in today. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It helps with motivation when you do that, but I got to tell you, it's funny, if you start posting your word count on Facebook, the very first time you do it, people are going to get so confused and start randomly putting 11 words, 15 million words, 8 words. And it's like, that's not what this is.
Yeah. And that's when you reply 2 words, bite me. So
right.
Yeah. You don't have to take that line down, people. But seriously, it's a great thing. And another thing to mention, even though they won't be meeting in person, a number of cities have meeting groups.
Yes.
Where you can hook up with other local writers. I know there's one here in Lafayette, Indiana. There was one in Champaign where I came from.
Yep.
Almost every major city will have one. Rick, you might check out, see if there's something going on in Marion or Carbondale. But it's a good way to get to know local authors that way too.
If you go onto the Nano website, sign up
Mhm.
for it, and select your region, they will usually connect you with your city's municipal liaison. I think Cedar Rapids just got theirs, or Iowa City. I can't remember. I was afraid I was going to get pulled into it this year, and I'm like, no, no. Um, but they'll usually send out posts and say, hey, this is when we're, well, now meeting online. This is when we'll be talking and working on things. So it's a
Mhm.
great way to get connected with them.
Yes, and also you can report your once you register on the National NaNoWriMo site. I think it's .org, isn't it?
Oh, I
Am I
can't remember.
I can't either, but
I
do a
can
search
find
for
out.
NaNoWriMo or National Novel Writing Month and you'll find it. But anyway, you report your daily progress and where you are writing. And you get like little stickers you can get, and they make little announcements at how awesome you are.
Yep.
And there's just a whole bunch of really cool perks. And like Erin was saying, you get discounts on certain programs. Scrivener, I cannot recommend enough. It is
Same.
a great utility for writers, especially if you need help organizing and also shutting off the rest of the internet while you're working and keeping a
Yep.
word count and keeping your goals in mind. And one other thing that was useful last year was Ingram Spark was
Yes.
gave you a coupon for free printing. Ingram Spark has a lot going for it, but they also make you pay for uploading.
Hmm.
And while that sounds daunting, you can frequently get free uploads on there, and this is just one way. And after National Novel Writing Month, you may have something to do business with them about.
Right. They do. They've done free edit uploads too, which saved my butt last year. But it is national NaNoWriMo.org. So that's where you want to go. I usually write a blog entry each year about prepping for Nano, preparing for it. So I usually connect it to my website, so you can find it there if you want tips on writing for Nano.
Very good, very good. That is so cool. And Carl Winston says, "Yep, even though my book ended up being a novella, not a full-size novel, NaNoWriMo inspired me to get that done." And
It'll do
that's
that.
yeah, seriously, it will. It's a fantastic writer's resource, and I think everybody should take advantage of it. Cindy Cap says there are 4.5 weekends in November. Set up 4 10K days on the weekend and wrangle the other 10K in the rest of the weekdays. Now that's great.
Perfect.
That's great advice. I love it. Thank you, Cindy Cap. CKOEPP.com. Sign up for her free monthly newsletter. And she also has a book, Animal Eye, out from Bear Publications and Amazon. You may have heard of them. Cindy, she also wants to know, do you have a mental playlist or audio ones when you write? Do you listen to music when you create?
Yeah, I usually have to. If I'm entirely in the zone, sometimes I'll shut off my music because my thoughts are too loud and the music does nothing. Um, I have a couple different playlists. One is a character playlist where it's songs that remind me of the different characters in my book. So I'll play that in the background to give me inspiration. Often, what I'll do is I will play excuse me, instrumental soundtracks from movies that inspire me, because then I don't have lyrics distracting me. Or I'll check for emotional instrumental, sad instrumental, um,
Really?
or Zen music. So you get water running, you get chimes playing, stuff like that. Those are my main two. There's also a website, I think it's ambiance.com or something, where you can actually create your own sound system. Basically, you can do like the Hogwarts common room or something with Game of Thrones, or you can set have birds singing or chimes, water, fire crackling, rain, etc. It's so cool. As for a mental playlist, it usually goes ah!
I have the same one. It's uncanny. Yeah, you talk about the ambiance thing. I found a YouTube channel that has several atmospheric
Yeah.
sound, kind of like ASMR,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it was a bookstore.
yeah. Ooh.
And I'll have to find that link for you. But it's
like that.
like you hear people walking around, you hear books flipping open, and they have rainstorms every now and then.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I love rainstorms too. So it's like it's just kind of really fun things, And Jenna Morisi had a great video on it a couple of years ago on YouTube where she talked about like you to put her in the mood for certain
Yeah.
things, and she had like when she was writing fight scenes.
Yep.
And these incredibly violent things in her books, and then it cuts to her mouthing the lyrics to let the bodies hit the floor.
I've done that.
Yeah, me too. I've learned to love speed metal. So
I also have the bad habit of picking a song I really like and putting it on repeat. So if you look at iTunes, that song will have played like 400 times, and I won't get tired of it because I'm ingrained in the book. I just have it on in the background. Drives my friends crazy.
Oh, I bet. That's funny though. Oh, the thing is, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have 2 playlists of music that I like.
Nice.
And people will probably go through there. I've got a couple hundred songs in each one. I'm going to separate them out somehow. But it's like, people are going to go through that thing. Is there anything you don't like, Brian? Is there like a reason why you have like the Beatles, then like Metallica, then Weird Al? It's like, what's going on here? And then the Spice Girls. What the hell? So, but yeah, anything
What's up your life?
So tell me what you want, what you really want. So yeah, and Spice World is one of the best films ever made. I changed my mind, but anyway, yeah, seriously. Yeah, but yeah, music is very important. Ambiance is very important, and support is very important. That's why NaNoWriMo is also so important. Scrivener does not organize, says Cindy Kep, the way her brain does, but I do well old school, and that's it. You got to find your rhythm. You've got to find the tools you need to get this done, and you've got to find your support system. You got to find your team, your tribe. So it's that's an ongoing thing though, not just 1 month a year. And then Cindy also asked, Erin, what's your favorite book?
Oh gosh.
And will it change an hour from now?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
let me help.
yes. Right. So obviously it changes a lot. I'm going to go to answer that question. I'm going to go with the children's book, actually, that really always comes to mind and inspires me when I think about a book that played a role in my life. And that's Aunt Isabel Tells a Good One. And it's a picture book about an aunt mouse who decides to tell a story to her niece, and they plan to act it out. Well, what the big thing about it that I loved is the niece, who's a commoner in the story, ends up rescuing the prince. And let's just say that started me with women power.
Nice.
So great story, and amazing art too. You should check it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why you and the ones that inspire you, they stay with you for so long. I mean, my first novel that my first grown-up book that I read when I was a kid was Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, yes.
Which probably explains a lot about me, but no, it's like I've learned. It's a great novel of think of the consequences of what you do. Alienation. It is like it's literally the very first science fiction book ever written, but there is just so many messages in that book that I love. My second one is Cyborg by Martin Caidin.
Ooh.
Cyborg was turned into a TV series, The $6 Million Man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Martin Caidin was a former NASA scientist who wrote a lot of series dealing with real life science and their applications in the world of fantasy. He also, in fact, the thing is, if I know this is a generation or two older than you, Erin, but the opening to The $6 Million Man, Steve Austin was based on a real character.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously, that Martin Caidin worked with at NASA. He was a test pilot like Colonel Steve Austin. And when you watch the opening, which you can see on YouTube, you see the plane, coming down, being dropped off the plane, and then the horrific crash. That's him. Those are NASA films.
Oh my gosh.
The only time they aren't is when you see Lee Majors. And you hear him, of course. But yeah, that was taken from the thing. But in the real life incident, the man did not lose his legs and an arm and an eye. He did lose an eye, but that was it. So, but
Wow.
yeah, but I like Martin Caidin because he's kind of like Michael Crichton in that he can boil down science into something that even I can understand. So
timeline.
yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, Cindy Kemp would also like to know, what is your favorite movie or TV show? What inspires you in TV?
Oh, gee. Well, a lot of the Game of Thrones was one until season 8. I have opinions.
Here we go. Here comes the rant, folks. Brace yourself.
I will spare you the rant.
Okay. 2 hours later.
Right? No, Game of Thrones was definitely a good, something that inspired me a lot for writing. Other movie would be Lord of the Rings was one of my big inspirations. I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite, but it's like a huge inspiration for me. Other TV shows, crap, what is it called? They're Cursed. It's based on a book series that just came out on Netflix, and that was really interesting. I really enjoyed watching that. And The Dragon Prince on Netflix. That got me to want to sit down and work on writing again. It's I think they've been calling it like an American. It's by the same creators as Avatar: Last Airbender, which is also an amazing TV show. They created The Dragon Prince, and amazing show. Absolutely love it. And if you can't tell, I do like my cartoons. And sorry, there's been a lot of Netflix I've been watching. The rebooted version of She-Ra.
Yes, I've heard good things about that.
Amazing. So good. Very LGBT positive. I gotta say that. The plot it's a really good show, and the music from it is yes. They also pay homage to the original too, which cracks me up. I just gotta say.
Yes. I love the original. Good stuff. Cindy Kemp continues. One of my squawkateals. You're giving me a workout tonight, Cindy. Lockheed used to autograph the corners of rough drafts. She liked to make spitballs. Do your Fids autograph your work?
So far, the only autograph I've gotten was on the front cover, and I don't think they meant for it to be an autograph. Cleaned it off. Fortunately, the front cover allowed me to clean it off. None of them make autographs, but that's definitely a thing to consider. I might have to consider that. But yeah, no, they make their own autographs, and it comes from the place I don't want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm thinking, or is it like literary commentary is the thing? Are they, just Burns, write an Amazon review, okay? It helps more. Okay?
Right?
Yeah.
I need one more. I need one more for Purple Door District, and I'll have 30 reviews on Amazon.
Man, I don't think I've got 30 who put them all together. So, anyway,
so if you've read Purple Door District, review it, please. And review Brian's work.
That's right. There we go. Please. In fact, I've got a book about writing reviews. So, Amazon book reviews made less impossible. Available on Amazon and Smashwords. Thank you. # always promote. And Sarah would like to know this is a great question. Who is your favorite author inspiration? Who fires you up?
So I would say, overall author idol, Brian Jakes. I wish I had met him in person before he passed away. I did not. I'm very sad, but I have a couple signed books from him, courtesy of some friends. And Haunted Bookshop also. To plug them again, right?
Please.
They have cats. I would say my current...
And no birds.
And no birds. No birds. They do not eat the birds. I would say that my current inspiration would be Patricia Briggs, who writes the Mercy Thompson series and the Alpha Omega series. Her books are amazing, and they're what get the urban fantasy fire going in me, which is fantastic. For the fantasy writing, or medieval fantasy writing I do. Mercedes Lackey and Terry Goodkind were inspirations. Rest in peace, Terry Goodkind. He passed away recently, but I grew up on those books. I remember I'd go to high school reading one of the Sword of Truth books. I'd have my face in the book most of the day on the bus ride back. And I distinctly remember, I was a latchkey kid. I distinctly remember walking into the lower part of our apartment, and I just stood there reading the book and suddenly shouted, "I knew it!" before I went upstairs. So,
Oh, that's hilarious. That's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, I know how those can influence you. I was reading William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist.
Nice.
One of the scary, before I saw the movie. And I asked my mom, like, I stayed up till like 2 a.m. and only was like about 3 chapters from the end. I'm like, Mom, can I finish this? Would you call in school in the morning? So I don't have, because I'm not. And she's like, no, you're going to bed. You're going to school. You can't read the rest of it till you get home. It's like, Mom. So that probably started my resentment towards authority figures. But anyway, I'm gonna, that's an excellent question, Sarah. Thank you for asking that. I'm going to twist that. Are there any authors that are in your network that inspire you, and anyone that fires you up?
You.
I wasn't thinking for a compliment. I really wasn't. But thank you, sweetheart.
No, you, definitely you.
Vice versa. Seriously.
Gosh, I would say, there's a lot. Alex Penland is one of them, or definitely Alex Penn. Shakira Dunn has been great, which I would like to plug. Shakira, for those of you who don't know, Iowa got hit with a derecho on August 10th. Shakira lost her home. And she has a GoFundMe page out right now trying to raise money to help with that. So I have it I can post on my author Facebook page. So if you can go out and donate to that, that'd be amazing. Shakira Dunn's an inspiration. Christine Plum, she does urban fantasy. Amelia Kibbe, who just released her book Legendary. So high fantasy. I have so many author names running through my head. Cindy, of course, Cindy Coop, Teresa Dunn, special poet, especially with poetry. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's just a huge list. Honestly, if you want to know the authors who inspire me, you should go to my my website, erincasey.org. I used to do author interviews every week. I had to put them on hold after, what happened, my mom passing. But I've interviewed a lot of authors on there. You should check them out. You can learn about their books, learn about what they do. And Heather Bird Roberts is a huge inspiration. She and I went to college together. She does slam poetry. She teaches. I know she's taught inner city youth about writing. She has her inheritance series that she does, and she's an amazing poet. You really need to check her out. She is also one of the people that I've interviewed. So I could go on about this for like an hour, but seriously, the people who join us for Iowa, most of them I know. So yes, they are inspirations. So yes.
That means I think that means you've built your tribe right. That
I try.
Seriously, that I think that your friends in this biz, like I said, you fire me up too. Seriously, and everybody that your drive, your creativity, your willingness to try different things. That it's like. How can I sit in my house and just be, boring old me? I got to keep up with you guys. And I think that's, a good tribe will inspire you because you want to keep up with them. Yeah. And it's all non-competitive. So please, networking is important. So, and here we go. Cindy Kemp has a question here, and it's a great one. And it's a good one to probably close the show on. What is your funnest or most interesting reader interaction? Which could be two different things.
Yes.
I've had a few of those, so
I have to think about that.
Okay,
if you have one, you go. I'm thinking.
Well, I had one at a show. This was about 2-3 years ago, and of course, I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories. And it has informed some of my work. In fact, it's part of my current flash fiction thing. Well, I had a guy come up to me who I don't think knew how to smile, and he was saying, "I'm looking at your books. I think you're into conspiracy theories." And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I am, sir. How about you?" Well, that was my mistake. I shouldn't have asked. And it turned out that he called Art Bell every night to make sure Bell got those things correct. And I'm like, "Oh, that's fascinating." When you're praying and somebody like wants to take your lunch order or something. So yeah, it's like, yeah. So that's probably my most interesting. Now I've had plenty of fun interactions. I've had too many to relate in just the brief time we've got left. But have we stirred enough, in your brain now, Erin? Okay.
I think I have two that I want to mention. There was one where there was a couple of girls who came up to my table. They saw the books and they were just so excited and delighted about it, and they were just like, we want everything. We want to do the full package with the posters and necklaces and everything. So I gave it to them and I was like, do you mind if I take a picture of you guys holding this? They're like, oh yeah, that's totally great. And they were so excited, and it was like such an incredible thing to be like, oh my gosh, these girls are excited about my book and about what I'm doing, and I can actually post this and show like people have a lot of excitement. So it was a really, really good feeling for me. The other one, was just really kind of funny. I was at the Des Moines signing with Alex, and Alex calls her series Gay Hogwarts in Space. It's the Letter Mage, okay? And she had a flag, LGBT flag at her table. I have LGBT themes in my book. I do have LGBT characters. I had a gentleman who looked at Alex's stuff, went away, came back to me, and was checking out my book. And he started politely bashing Alex's book because the main character has two moms. And I was like, how do I address this? Because he seemed interested in picking up my book for his daughter. And, so I was talking with him about it, and it was just like getting on the same level with him, going, I understand, I can understand how you can feel, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, now my book do have LGBT elements in there. And I was like, maybe the daughter would be interested. I'm thinking the daughter might be interested in reading it, try to introduce some of that in her life. And I just see him slowly put the book back down, and he goes, I may have to think about this, and then walks away. And I was like, okay, first of all, don't badmouth another author to me when they're sitting right there. He had no idea that Alex and I had driven in the same car up together, Don't badmouth another author in front of me like that. I don't appreciate it. Right. But it was just really amusing. Like, everybody has their beliefs. I understand that. And I don't want to bash somebody who has, I'm a supporter of the LGBT community, and very strong supporter of that. And it's just like, wow, that was an interesting interaction. I was like, I didn't want to cut him down because I didn't want him to think like, well, all LGBT people are like this. It's like, no, let me try to have a civil conversation with you. Yes. So did not end up in a book sale, but that's okay. It was an interesting story to be able to tell and tell Alex too.
There you go. You took the high road, and that's good. You didn't give him any ammo. No. Against the other side, and I think that speaks well of you. And speaking well of us, Cindy Cap says, "Y'all done good. Thanks for playing. Don't forget to tip your host. That's PayPal.me/Rising Tide, capital B, capital K, capital M. Hashtag always promote. And anyway, hashtag Bird Power. Right on." Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much. And I've got to say, I always tell people that are guests on this show, the time flies.
It really does.
It really does, and it's not just that you're in the moment and it's like, oh dear God, what's Brian going to do now? But it's, we get into it, we get in the conversations, and you have been marvelous, Erin.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun having you here, and I hope this is not the last time we get you on this show.
I don't plan on it being the last, and the birds don't either.
Well, there we go. We got it. What can I say? Aladdin and Orion have spoken. Yes, I wrote down their names just in case I can make a joke out of it. But anyway, Erin Casey, we're going to reward you for your meritorious behavior tonight. And we know you've got a lot to promote here because you've got a lot going on, especially that great Iowa convention, Imagine Other Worlds with Authors, this coming November. I'm going to give you the full screen, and I want people to know where they can find you, where they can keep up on your adventures, and tell a little more about Iowa, because there will be many people there that such as myself and Teresa Dunn and Cindy Kep. So here you go, Erin. Tell everybody why you're so awesome.
Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about me and the Purple Door District or all the projects that I'm doing as an author, you can find me at erincasey.org. All of my social media is on there. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all over the place, Goodreads. And again, I'm one away from getting to 30 for Amazon reviews for Purple Door District. So please leave a review. If you would like to learn more about the writers' rooms and what we do, please visit thewritersrooms.org. You can also email us at welcome@thewritersrooms.org. I will be the one who will probably be answering your email. If you're a writer looking for a safe community to write in, let me know. All of our stuff is being held online on Facebook and through Zoom. If you are interested in meeting local Iowa authors and authors from the Midwest, please join us for the Writers' Rooms Iowa Virtual Writers Event. From November 2nd to the 8th, you'll get to learn about different bookstores that are in Iowa. You'll get to meet a ton of different authors and listen to them speak on panels. To learn more about that, you can find it at thewritersrooms.org/Iowa, or visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/IA Other Worlds. We are currently posting up pictures of our authors and updating our list weekly with all the new authors and bookstores that are going to be involved. We would love to see you there. We would love for you to support our fellow authors. Keep writing and make sure to take care of your mental health.
All right. Thank you so much, Erin. It has been a delight.
It's been great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. And what we'll do now is I will mute you and I will take up the screen. We'll take out the show, but hang out for a moment or two, and we'll talk afterwards if you want.
Will do. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
All right. And thank you all for being so great with Erin here. She has been fantastic. And we will definitely get her back as soon as there we go. I'm filling the screen finally. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you had some great questions. And please check out Imagine Other Worlds with Authors. Also, check out the Patreon page that Erin mentioned earlier, because that helps support her mission of inclusiveness and encouraging other writers, which, as you know, it's Rising Tide. That's what we stand for here. So anyway, thank you all for being on the Clever Title Pending tonight. We appreciate your questions and your participation. And if you're watching us on the replay or listening to us on iHeartRadio, we love you, and we hope that you'll come and check us out live and participate, so I can get behind in all the comments and never seem to catch up. But anyway, be sure to check out next week's show. We're going to have the great Jim Beard on. Yes, he's a writer of dozens and dozens of great new pulp books. He's a publisher. He's written comic books. He's done all kinds of cool things, and we're going to have him on next week on Clever Title Pending. You're going to dig it. And also be sure to check out risingtide.pub. That's where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. We don't ask for a thing. In fact, we give you stuff like inspiration, education, and motivation through various videos that we share. We have guest editorials going on in there and secret links. And occasionally we have a little discount on some of our books. So please check it out, okay? Also, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and ring that bell so you'll be notified of all kinds of appearances that we'll be making in the future on the video place. Also, check out Rising Tide Publications on Facebook, where we post new things 3 or 4 times a day. And let me set up for that final shot here. We'll have some closing comments to put in front of the cards as we head out here. And so that's all we've got here. Thank you for being here tonight. And this is Brian K. Morris telling you to stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands. Never apologize for being awesome. Thank you for being here on Clever Title Pending. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye. Someday.
This is the legend of the traveling TARDIS.
Go, Phil.
Oh, now you're muted. There we go.
Come on. Yeah, we're rebooting the computer afterwards. So anyway, tell you what. Well, we were going to run an ad here. So anyway, we'll just close out the show. We may just, So anyway, everything's running smoothly as usual.
Throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Oh. Or it could be StreamYard, who knows? Well,
tuning
anyway,
in
we
to
will take
Clever
ourselves
Title
on the
Pending,
broadcast.
a
We
Rising
have been
Tide
brought to you by
Publications
Geek
and Brian K.
Insider.
Morris
Check out all they
production.
do. They also have
Advocating
opportunities for advertising.
GeekInsider.com. Become part of our show with sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising
and folks, you can do this too anyway.
Visit
Take care.
podcast.geekinsider.com. The Geek Insider podcast is available on your favorite app, so please hit the follow button and share it out to your friends. Because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.